Hello, YouTube. Thank you for watching. Sandy Ruby Mello here. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I really wanted to talk to somebody, but there's nobody to talk to at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, at least not for me. So I decided to do a video. Maybe I should put up the volume. I think the volume is low. Let me work this out. Well, this video today is going to be basically about 5 things I hate now that I'm disabled. If you haven't been watching any of my videos, this is the first one. I'm Sandy. Hi, thank you. Like and subscribe. I'm looking a little rough because it's in the middle of the night and my face is pretty greasy and I'm pretty ugly today, but I can explain that. That's part of the 5 things that I hate now that I'm disabled. Um, Back in 2015, I got into a crazy accident that left me paralyzed from the shoulders down. Life has been really hectic since then. My new normal is, I guess I'm still learning how to function in my new normal. That heads into the number one spot in what I hate about being paralyzed. All my independence is gone. When I was on my 2 feet, I could do my own hair. As you can see, it's a mess. I could do my makeup. There's so much things that I can't do now, which is really, I can go into great detail about it, but it'll probably get you all sad, and that's not really the point of this video. I don't really want nobody to feel sad for me, but it's crazy the things that you lose when you get disabled. Number one is independence. The fact that I can't even feed myself or do certain things, it's like, it drives me crazy. Being that I've been doing everything most of my life up until I turned 28, when I got into that accident, I took so many things for granted. Being that I'm the oldest out of, like, sorry for my voice, I guess because it's so late and I'm kind of super tired, but I don't, kind of restless a little bit, not ready for bed. I just kind of want to get some of this off of my chest. Being that I'm the oldest out of 8 kids, one passed away. Rest in peace, my darling Elsie, which was the second child. Anyways, I've always been the go-to person. Like, make me peanut butter jelly. Oh, or what are you making in the refrigerator? It's like, not only was I self-sufficient, but I want to believe I was super helpful to my siblings because I used to do their hair. I used to be able to know how to do, that was my big thing. I used to be able to braid my hair and stuff like that. And if you're a black girl, that's a big deal in our community. We really love doing our hair in different styles and stuff like that. So that was my thing. That's the reason why I was something popular a little bit. People knew me because I did hair, so I'm very social. So losing that independence, not being able to do for myself or other people, especially for my son, as much as I used to do, it kind of brings a damper on the whole situation. That's the number one out of the 5 things, losing my independence and not being able to do the things that I love the most. On the bright side, losing my independence, I'm kind of closer to people, like people that go above and beyond to do things for me. It's like, it brings so much joy to my heart. It gives me a sense of, like, humbleness, like people who go out of their way to do certain things for me. It just brings me to tears sometimes because it's like, the world can be so cold sometimes. And when you find people who are really genuine and care for you and really want to do things for you, not only because you're paralyzed or you can't, do for yourself, but because they actually find happiness in helping you because they can, it's a great feeling. And being able to share with those people is an awesome thing. So, and then I still find some independence in like being able to make this video on my own. I have this computer program on my computer where I'm able to access and navigate through the computer and do stuff like this, which is amazing. I don't have to have any crazy equipment. My little brother helps me initially search for this app. It's called Camera Mouse, and basically, it's constantly clicking, and the dwell time, I'll just dwell on something and it'll be able to click. And then I don't know if anybody has Windows with Cortana, but Cortana, she's voice activated, so she's able to open some of my apps and stuff on the computer, especially Camera Mouse if nobody's around. So basically, I have my laptop here. Unfortunately, because of craziness in my life, I live in a nursing home now. I was living home, but now I don't. Um, that jumps into my second thing: abandonment and neglect. That's the number. This. Oh, I don't like to use the word hate, but I hate that so many of the friends and my family are nowhere to be found. So many people have neglected me and turned their backs on me since I've been paralyzed, and it's taken a toll on my view and perspective on my relationships. Like, I've had to reevaluate so many of the relationships that I've cherished so much over the years because some of the people that I thought would have had my back and given me so much support, or at least looking out for me or checking for me, are not. So it's been really hard to let go of people that I thought were my friends or I thought were people that loved me. Um, Sometimes I feel like my family is not putting all the effort that they can to help me. But on the bright side, I have to look at this situation as if it happened to all of my friends and family. Some people who are so used to me being so vibrant and off the wall and doing so much and being so active and being so independent, I forget how dramatic and traumatic this could be to people when they first hear the news, or just thinking about it can get them sad and cripple them to even like figure out what they can do for me or do with me or stuff like that. Like, my social life is non-existent. I used to be very active in the department. I love to be around people. Don't get me wrong, the good thing about this is I'm able to really find things that I like about myself and really be more creative and just learn to love myself for what it is without depending on so many people to do things for me, and just learn to accept the things that I can't control. But it really shows me who and what people are capable of. Like, it's been just a really hard journey learning to just let people be people. And if you want to help me, you help me. If you don't, you don't. If you want to be my friend, you be my friend. If you don't, you don't. And just keep it moving. And sometimes it's not the fact that they don't want to help or they don't. Sometimes it's just life is happening for all of us. And sometimes people just, it is what it is. But some people really have turned their backs on me, whether on purpose or not. It's just been something that I've found was very crazy. As far as the people that I do have, like the support that I have with my son, my sister, and a lot of other family members, it's been great. I get a lot of encouragement to just be who I am, regardless of all the other things that are out of my control. So the next thing that kind of bothers me now that I'm disabled. Coming into this 5th year, in the beginning, I wasn't exposed to that much strangers, outside strangers. The strangers that I deal with on a regular basis is like um, nursing staff. And now that I live in a nursing home, I'm exposed to a lot of other older people, old elderly people. But when I was living home for the past, I was living home for a while, for like 2 or 3 years. And when I would go out places, people would stare at me, or random people would come up to me, or even the people that work at the hospital. When they get really super curious, they would come and they would ask me, what happened to you? Without even like greeting you or anything, they just want to know what happened to you. And then some people, like, they really want details and they want to know if you remember stuff. At first, just as for therapy, I just would tell people just to get it off my chest and just to clear my system and or whatever. But then after a while, it became annoying because I was like, as if it was, I was living the situation all over again. I have to be reminded of this big tragedy all the time. And I rarely find people who are not curious. And I get it, you just want to know. But sometimes people catch me on a bad day and it's like giving them short answers because I'm so annoyed. I don't mean to be annoyed by people, but being paralyzed and being disabled is not my normal. I'm still learning how to cope with this situation. And sometimes all of it just comes crashing down with just that one question. What happened to you? What's going on? Have you been, all the many questions that come with, you know, when I meet new people or when I go out or, just people are just staring and stuff like that. And it's really taken a toll on my self confidence, which is the next thing that I hate. Other than like regular self esteem issues, I've never really had a problem with my self confidence. I've always felt like I was a pretty person because I've gotten so much attention from the opposite sex, well, from people in general. I consider myself having a great personality, but since I've been paralyzed, it's been really hard to figure out who I am now that I'm in this position. Um, I question my spirituality a lot and the things around me, which I believe is normal, but it's been really hard to really figure out where to go next. I know I want to share my story with people. That's the reason why I'm talking now. I want to motivate people, to keep pushing regardless of your situation. You can still find purpose, but sometimes, like, I really lose confidence. Like, being that I'm not independent anymore, I have to depend on people to do my hair, brush my teeth, do so many things. So, like, and then I'm being neglected on top of it. So it's like, oh, it's it could be super overwhelming, and that makes me lose confidence in my ability to overcome them. Um, Granted, I've come a long way. In the beginning of my paralysis, I had so many things to overcome. I was on life support for almost 6 months, and I had a tracheotomy where there was a tube coming out of my throat, and I had a tube coming out of my stomach to eat, and I had the list goes on and on of things that I had to overcome. Um, and God granted me the ability to do type of things, and I'm grateful for that. However, sometimes I think of other departments in my life. Career wise, I want to believe that I'll be a motivational speaker, and one day this whole YouTube thing will pick up and something great will happen in that department. I'm not worried, especially with technology being so awesome. Like, I could probably be a virtual assistant or something, there's things that I could do as job wise. I'm not worried about that as far as like making money and stuff like that. Um, right now, my self confidence is really poor in my social skills and my ability to love not only like other people but myself in general. Like I didn't realize how prejudiced or judgmental I was against disabled people until now. Like I knew that I didn't like to be around sick sick people because they make me feel queasy and I get like really like helpless. So now that I am a disabled person, sometimes I try to understand other people when they get around me because some people feel very uncomfortable. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't help her. She seems so fragile. Blah blah blah. They feel like they have to watch what they say around me and stuff. So it's like I get it. I know I love myself to the point where um, I've accepted my life for what it is. But as far as like sharing myself with like a love interest, like a relationship as far as a man. Before I knew I was very confident in that department because I knew what I could offer. I felt like to be in a relationship it's a give and take type of thing. But because I am so dependent on other people, if I were to entertain a relationship, I would need to depend on this person for so much. Like the the dependence level for this relationship, I feel like would have to be like this person would have to be almost like very patient, very loving, very understanding. Like, and me sitting here overthinking everything and thinking about all my past relationships, I don't think I've ever been with a person that's able to love me for my mind and not worry so much about the physical aspects. Being that I'm only 33 years old, well, I'll be 33 next month in January, it's always been more physical, I guess. The physical always came first and then everything else. And then it was always hard to maintain my relationships because once I figured out the person it was more lustful than anything, it was hard to maintain the relationship because a lot of relationships are based off lustful desires. That lustful attraction is what brings people together. And then sometimes when it fades away, it kind of dwindles. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know there's all different types of miracles, so I guess I would need a miracle as far as like being confident enough to entertain a relationship with a man. And the fifth thing which was actually the fourth, I jumped into the self confidence thing because it just popped out. But the last thing is pain, emotional, mental, and physical pain. Throughout my life, I don't remember ever really getting into any crazy accidents physically. Never broke a bone. Was pretty healthy most of my life. Never really been crazy sick on anything. So being now that I'm like compromised and I'm paralyzed, I get sick all the time. I'm in and out of the hospital all the time, and I suffer physically a lot. And it makes me question everything. And I don't like questioning things because I like to feel secure. I like to feel purposeful. I like to feel, I don't know, I like to be happy. And I know happiness is a state of mind where it's constantly changing. But when I go to sleep, I don't dream as if I'm paralyzed. So sometimes waking up, it's like a nightmare. I'm paralyzed. I'm like getting up to turn to do something, then I have to remember, oh snap, I'm paralyzed. And it's painful. Painful have to remind myself of certain things, like you didn't put yourself here. God made the world, and you don't know why the sun goes up. You don't know why it comes down. You, like, I have to give myself a pep talk all the time lately, just to maintain from all the emotional and all the crazy pain that I go through as a disabled person. And I don't know. I did get counseling. If anybody's asking, I always get counseling since my whole life. Most of my life, I've dealt with mental illness, so counseling is something you might go to. I always seek people out, professionals to speak to, talk to, and this I don't even consider this the hardest experience of my life. Losing my child to cancer was actually the hardest thing. However, lately, now that I'm starting to get a little lonely as far as like thinking of my future, these five things have caused me to be not so miserable, because I don't consider myself a miserable person at all. People don't know my strife unless I share with them. And I try to be as chipper as possible, positive as possible. I'm always constantly trying to learn and reinvent myself, regardless of the struggle of life. That I know that even though I might physically be paralyzed, um, I can still probably conquer life if I put my mind to it. And it's just an ongoing battle. And there's certain things that I'm just now learning spiritually, emotionally. And these five things have caused me to use the word hate. And I don't even use that word ever. Not having the independence that I love so much has caused me to make my to be more humble, I guess. And humbling myself at times is a good thing because it allows me to see people in their rarest form. Like, even when people can be assholes to me still, as helpless as I am, I find myself being able to be victorious. Like, if somebody, I'm I'm more observant now, so like when somebody is agitated by the world and then they see how calm I approach the situation, it kind of flips their perspective. And sometimes people will come back and even apologize when they notice how much of an asshole they were for no apparent reason. Because some people can get carried away when they see that they have some type of power over you. They will take advantage of that. That happens on a regular basis. That's actually happened to me since I've been paralyzed. Like, people have taken advantage of me, and it sucks, but it's life. Um, and even though people have also neglected and abandoned me and turned their backs on me, there's other new people that have also come in through the door and shared with me, and I've shared with them and have brightened up my perspective on people, because sometimes I've lost so much hope and been so disappointed by those that I thought would ultimately be here for me always. People are human, and humans are not always going to be there for you. And I guess, guess I had to learn that the hard way. And when curious strangers become friends, it's always a great thing, because regardless of at the time I don't want to share those questions and they may hurt me to share, the more I share, the more different ways I see myself, and being able to just reiterate what makes me thankful for being here on earth in general. I don't know why certain things happen, but I know that the God that I serve says in the Bible that ultimately everything works out for your good. And even though it may not make sense to you at the time, one day it will. And it will all click and make sense. Because if we understood God, then we would be God ourselves. And we would be able to control the things that are not able to be controlled. So I have to learn to know that I'm not in control and I'm not God. And I'm experiencing this life. And I'm honored to learn whatever lessons that I'm given because everybody is in on their own journey. And the pain that I feel, the bright side, I don't really know the bright side of feeling all the pain. I guess it's growth. The physical pain is unbearable sometimes. And mind you, I don't take any pain medications. I used to smoke weed, but I don't smoke weed while I've been here in the nursing home. I used to have a vape pen as well, but the most that it does is really make me sleepy, and it's good for my eating because I lost a lot of weight. But the emotional and all the other pain that I'm talking about, they don't they don't go away. You have to choose to be positive. And my self confidence, I guess it's a work in progress. It's something that I would have to constantly on this journey learn to accept myself for what it is. And even if this was my fault or not, or whatever karmic, debt that I had to pay, or I don't know why this happened to me, but now that I'm here, I'm having to learn to make this my new normal. And whoever comes in my way, that God sends my way, I pray that they love me exactly for who I am and we can do life together. So, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Give me some love. Make any comments about what if you're disabled, or any questions that you might have, that you might give me some suggestions of what videos you might like me to make. All right. Hopefully one of these days I get somebody to help me edit them and they won't be so ugly and I won't be so funky looking. But I try to be as natural as possible. So peace, love, and thank you. Have a great day. Happy New Year, you guys. Well, it's not New Year yet. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Okay, let me turn this music